we always talk about, should we keep prospects? Should we consider, are we keeping too much? Are we, prospects should be able to get us talent, and are we in win now mode? But here's my thing, Jim. Would you pay the price? Because we talked about this last week, and me and you were messaging back and forth on Facebook because you saw the same thing I did. The price that they want for Garrett Crochet. I'm like, the thing that's shocking me is that people are ready to do this, man. Like, are you shocked that it's that deep?
So, yes, in a way, yes. But, the league is pitching starved, especially as somebody who has an arm like Crochet. He is potentially a top of the rotation arm if he can stay healthy. That's my biggest concern with him. So I don't have any concern about the arm talent. I just have concern about the body holding up, especially his shoulder. But yes, the deals that are being talked about are very high. The rumor that you and I both saw today was Alec Bohm and Justin Crawford. That's a high price. I don't know that I want to pay it, and not so much. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's not fair. The other teams wouldn't offer similar talent, but for the Phillies, my biggest concern is this. You have two problem positions already. So left field and center field are the two biggest problem positions on the field. Third base, Bohm has been good, especially for the money and
100%.
He's short term. He's 2 years.
Yep.
So are you gonna add another great starting pitcher, but then weaken a third position that you're gonna have to find another guy for, and that's where it becomes tough. Because on third base, if you trade Bohm, there's really only two names that could do a decent job filling his shoes. One would be Bregman, who's going to come at a high price for a lot of years, and then block Aiden Miller, who you think is going to be the third baseman of the future. And the other one's Nolan Arenado, who's been a league average hitter the last 2 years. He's fallen off a cliff.
Yes,
and while he's still a good fielder. But you really can't expect anything more than average offense from him. So that would be, a big step back from what Bohm's provided last year. And then Justin Crawford is supposedly going to be the guy who fills the center field problem. And now what happens if you don't have him? So, internally, we have no other options. Externally, a guy like Harrison Bader is the best other guy. Yeah.
God.
And if you keep Marsh, Bader isn't even a good platoon with Marsh, because even though he bats right-handed, he hits righties better than lefties. So he has reverse splits, and so he can't even really be an effective platoon option with Brandon Marsh. So, but is it going to take that much talent? Probably, because I've heard that the Red Sox are also in the deal, looking to get Crochet, and they're offering guys like Tristan Casas, who's a first base prospect with
stud.
Top. Yes,
stud.
Exactly.
Yep.
As well as one of their top minor leaguers. So that kind of talent is going to be what it takes to get him. But is it the best move for the Phillies? Strengthening a position of strength and then weakening a third position while taking away one of the best options to fill one of your other weaknesses. So yeah, I think I'm against it unless they have other deals in the works for names that we don't even know are available. I find it hard to believe that the Phillies would pull the trigger on that.
I thought that too, right? I did. I thought I said, there's no way in hell the Phillies. Now, I will say this, and you know this as well, and if everybody tuning in, make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure you go follow Pike's Pub on Facebook and Instagram. That's where they live. That's where they arrive, right here, 455 2nd Street Pike, home of the $3 happy hour from 4 to 6. We are live every Monday night for the Tony Cutillo Show right here, 6 to 9, talking to my man Jimmy Mack, talking Phillies. And I thought the same thing, Jim, and I was like, there's no way that they are going to give it up. But then I kept looking. And I'm like, look, where there's smoke, there's fire. I say it all the time. And the rumors are getting hotter and hotter. And then Alec Bregman bumps up The Phillies bump up from 5-2 as the favorite in the betting market to sign Alec Bregman. So now I'm thinking, all right, this deal's happening. Like, this deal is legitimately happening. And Dave Dombrowski, one thing he has not done here yet is trade away the farm. But everywhere else he's been, right? He's traded away top prospects. So could he finally say, this is what I'm looking at. Some of you agree. I'm looking at Dombrowski as he's going, you know what? I've been doing it the right way for the last 2 to 3 years. Haven't traded away no A-plus talent, not like that, and it ain't worked. You know what? Screw it. I'm going back to the Dombro way, and I'm gonna give up one of my top prospects because I want to win now. Do you think that's kind of where he's going here?
So I do think it's possible. I said, I probably misspoke. I should have said I wouldn't do it. But I believe you. I believe like you do that Bohm's going to be traded.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just too many conversations. The fact that he's now included in a rumor with players, almost means that something's happening. And maybe it's not Crochet, but I'm pretty sure Bohm will be traded regardless. Because frankly, maybe if I'm the White Sox and I've got the Red Sox offer on the table too, I might prefer that.
Yeah.
Because Casas has more years of control than Bohm does. So and the one other counter I saw in the rumor mill was that Chicago has concerns because of Bohm's second half.
Yes.
Obviously he was much better in the first half than he was in the second half. He also had the hand injury.
Yep.
That shelved him for a couple of weeks. But so again, it doesn't mean that specific deal happens, but I do believe, like you do, that Bohm is probably going to be traded, and that's probably the reason, one of the reasons why all of a sudden the Phillies are on the board as far as the odds to land Alec Bregman. And I did a little research into that too. When you brought that up to me that they jumped up to number 2. So I was like, I wonder where they were before free agency started. And they weren't even on the board.
They weren't even on the board.
There were 6 teams that were posted. These are FanDuel odds from back to November 7th. So
wow, November 7th. Yep.
And there were 6 teams. Kansas City was the 6th team. So the Phillies were behind the Royals as far as the Royals, who have never signed anybody outside of their own guy with, to a big free agent deal. Were higher in the odds than the Phillies were. So you can tell that a lot of thinking has changed, in the last 3 weeks. So I do believe like you that, Bohm is probably gone. Obviously the locker room attitude things must be worse than we think.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy. It's the downfall. A kid who's that talented, who's part of the daycare. Yeah. Now all of a sudden he's that. So what it does show me though, there's something a little more. Like like you just don't automatically say this dude. Like there's something a little more now. Our man E checking in wants to know. He says, question for you guys: are the Bohm for Tucker rumors true that I saw? Now I didn't hear. Did you hear anything?
I didn't hear that either.
I didn't hear any. I didn't hear that.
I mean, number one, it's not enough. It'd have to be Bohm plus, probably Crawford and maybe even more because Tucker is he's an everyday player who's a better, more proven, for the most part, non-injury prone. He had an injury prone season this year, but outside of that, he's been pretty healthy and MVP type guys. So I think it would take a lot more. It would be Bohm, it would be Crawford, it would probably be another prospect or two that it would have to take to get Tucker. Even though he only has a year, maybe 2 years before. I think maybe just 1 year.
I think it's just 1 year.
Yeah, I do too. But it's still going to take a haul. Otherwise, Houston will say, "Hey, we've still got one more chance to win a championship with them."
And that brings us to question 1B, which I think we know. Like we just said, what are the chances? Eric's asking that we get both Tucker and Bregman. I think 0. Because of what Jimmy just said, and I'll ask him to elaborate too. But my thought is, if Tucker only has 1 more year of control, and you're going to have to pay him MVP type numbers, I'll be able to pay him MVP type numbers plus Bregman MVP type. Like you just can't pay everybody. So I don't think there's any chance. What do you think?
I agree. It's just when you look at the fact that they're already paying Harper at first base, they're paying Turner at short.
Yep.
They're paying a couple two starting pitchers.
Real Muto,
Exactly,
Castellanos.
exactly.
I mean, the list goes on, man.
Schwarber, of course, that might drop this year. But you've got you've got other guys. Then you might need to take care of in the coming years as well. So Rangers, 1 year away. So what are we doing with Ranger?
Exactly.
So it's I just think you're right. It's just too much money in too many places, and I have no problems paying big money for stars, like real stars, but paying a guy like Bregman big money, you shouldn't really do it. He's not a superstar anymore.
Nope.
He wasn't even an all-star. He's a good player now.
Yep.
He's taken a couple steps down from the MVP type guy he was in 2019, but you can't. 2019 was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You can't pay in 2025 and beyond for what the guy was 5 years prior.
Exactly. And again, I know baseball is kind of like a lot. You pay for past performance. I get it, but in this case, no, man. Like I don't see it. And now let me ask you real fast too. Like somebody was talking about somebody was talking about the reason why they wanted to get Crochet was because they looked down the road after next year that we have a farm system who we got a guy coming off of Tommy John. We got an unproven pitcher. We got Wheeler, who's probably going to be done. We got they painted this really dim picture that we have no arms in the farm system. Do you agree with that?
So, well, no, first of all, they do have arms in the farm system. Are they top prospects today? No, they're not. But they have the one good thing about arms when you look at like a Painter or a who's the guy in Pittsburgh?
Skeens. Yep.
Yeah. You can bring even Crochet, didn't play in the minors. He came right from college so if they wanted to start using a first round pick, a year, 1 or 2 years in a row, kind of like we did with Painter and Abel. 2 years in a row. Those were two high school arms, so they take longer.
Yep.
But if you can get in a position to take 2 college arms early in the draft, 2 years in a row, you might have 2 starting pitchers in a year or two. So, you can, it is a position where you can try to improve your minor leagues quickly. Obviously it depends on where you're going to pick and who's available and what the year looks like. Like this last year was a disaster. Every high ranking starting pitcher ended up having Tommy John in college or high school. Man. Yeah.
Crazy.
So, so it's obviously it's risky, but you can turn it around pretty quickly. The Phillies are fine for the next several years, starting pitching wise.
Yep.
Of course, knock on wood, no injuries.
Yep.
But they're fine for the next 3 years. They can easily restock the cupboard, with high end starting pitching in the next 3 years.
And now Adam's saying I saw Ranger and Nick rumors too. Listen, we saw the Nick rumors. Ranger, I think, is like me and Jim talked about last week. That's more of having a guy, under control, young guy that could probably get a really good haul if they wanted to go that route. Mike says, I don't mind paying our own guys for past performance. There's the beer captain. There's the bar captain. He's here. What's up, brother? Yo, say, what do we?
That's all I gotta say.
I love it, man. Saquon Barkley. Absolutely right. Look, he even got Siri going on my phone. Look, how can I help? He wants to help the bar captain. But he says, don't mind paying our own guys like we did with Howard. I agree 100%. But the guys are coming from, no way. Now, I want to go back up. Somebody asked a question. I think it was Adam wanted to know what is the latest with the Soto talks. Now, I saw some things that they haven't even met with Soto yet. And I saw a couple things that said when they do and if they do, Harper's supposed to be there. They're bringing their guys there. But Jim, I'm not getting the feel that there's to me, he's not coming here. I think that shot's gone.
So I'd say I think 80% of the other, media, sports media is in your camp.
Yeah.
I still think there's a chance, only from the standpoint of, Middleton wants to win.
Yeah.
Middleton knows what kind of an impact the star player brings to the revenue, the revenue stream, to the market, the fan energy. So I think he is I think he is star hunting. Now, that doesn't mean just because they're in doesn't mean they win. I always made the analogy in business.
Yep.
It's like, all right, so this deal got you into the Kentucky Derby. You still have no shot to win. So we're in the Soto Derby, I think, but I think we're hanging in the back, and we are not the odds-on favorite. We're not even looking to place or show. I think right now we're out. We're one of those long shots that sometimes come in, and I still think the Mets are probably the number one team.
Okay,
I think they'll outbid anybody.
Okay,
but I think it's going to come down to Philly selling Philly.
Okay.
And the teammates and Kevin Long and the atmosphere and the lifestyle and the fan adoration and the track record of success versus the Mets, where you can actually go and say, hey, yeah, Cohen's out there spending money, but look what he did in 2023 when things didn't work out. He blew it all up. You really want to be on that roller coaster where it's like 1 year it works, next year it doesn't, next year maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, Yeah. And the roster is just a revolving door of highly paid, maybe over the hill guys that, the next shiny object that Cohen wants to throw money at. And then as a hedge fund owner, when he realizes it's not working out, he cuts ties.
Yes.
Whereas, we have in Philly, we have a culture. We have continuity.
Yes.
We have a track record of success under this current regime. So I think there's things you can sell against. But I still think that, the Mets and Cohen are the favorites. I don't think he goes back to the Yankees, though.
No, I don't either.
I
don't either. Yeah, I agree with you there. My man JD checking in says, Philly ticket prices. He says, no boss. Soda will price me out.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the good news for you. There's not a single correlation between payroll and ticket prices. And I can point this out. So I haven't looked at it recently, but in 2023, the Mets, of course, with Cohen had the highest payroll,
of course,
by far.
Yep.
Their average ticket price was the exact same as the Oakland A's, which were, the worst team in baseball.
Wow.
So yeah, it's the exact same. They were both $50 a piece.
Wow.
Average ticket price. Now, I'm not saying that $50 is cheap.
Right.
The highest,
but based on the payroll,
highest payroll in the league and lowest payroll in the league had the exact same average ticket price.
Well, I do know the Phillies tickets prices have gone up, and they've gone up considerably, right? So I think we all know that. But I do think, though, there's still a fair value based on what the league is, right? And that whole atmosphere that you get at Citizens Bank Park. It's still one of the best places, if not the best place, to watch a ball game. And I do think that they do a lot to try to really, with the different packages they offer and stuff like that. So I don't think it's crazy. But listen, I'm not going. Listen, you're a family of four, and you're eating food down there. I mean, you're talking a $300 day easily, right?
Yes.
And then you're paying $40 to park, right? Yeah, you're up in the deck, the pavilion deck, right?
Yeah.
In the last row, you're back up against a freaking cyclone fence. So, look, Adam says the Phillies home opener tickets last year was ridiculous. Home opener, you're always going to pay out the wazoo. Man. That's it. That's exactly what it's going to be.
My recommendation, ticket prices, ticket-wise, especially if they sign Soto, get a season ticket plan. And then you know what? Sell half of them. It'll pay for the other half.
Yeah, or you
that's
can
the best way to do it.
I think you can get I had a back in the day, a Sunday plan, Sunday only plan. It was like 18 games. All right. And I would literally sell 5 of those 18 and got my money back for the entire 18.
Exactly.
Right. So, I mean, you can do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Just don't sell it to the Mets fan.
Exactly. Make sure sell them to friends. Don't gouge them, but just
exactly, man.
Maybe a slight markup.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't definitely we want none of that, man. We don't want none of that. So Jim, before we swing over to Sixers, I got Mike KB coming on in a very, very short couple minutes. Like, what do you see? Like, if this crochet deal gets done, will this be something to where he wants to come here and they're going to sign him? Like, you're going to hear like, we traded and we gave him a contract. Like,
I think you have to. If you're going to give up that kind of, that kind of capital.
Yep.
I think you have to lock him in. which is the only way it makes sense at all. I mean, if you could lose them in 2 years, almost like the game they played with JT.
Yes.
They traded what we thought was a lot, turned out not to be, but we thought it was a big haul.
Yep.
And then we almost lost JT, a year and a half or 2 years later. And luckily the market was a little soft and we got him back. But, you can't roll the dice like that with Crochet.
Yeah, man. You just can't. You can't. Like you give up that amount of talent. You just go. So Jim, man, it's Thanksgiving, man. So, sports related. Let me ask you, man, like what are you thankful for in the world of sports?
I tell you what, I'm thankful that we have two high profile, excellent sports teams right now with a couple others that are iffy.
To say the least.
The Sixers, I never would have. I'll tell you, I'm glad I didn't bet on the Sixers because I think if I took the preseason win total, I'd already be burning that ticket.
A lot of people were burning that ticket, brother.
Yep.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, having the Phillies having this kind of buzz, even if it's, again, trading guys that you might not want to trade, they're doing it because they're like, hey, we're going for it. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
So, and then obviously the Eagles, that's why I wore Kelly Green.
Got the Kelly Green, man.
Shirt, obviously, but
I love it.
I went Kelly Green and I almost wore a Saquon. I don't do jerseys usually, but I have a Saquon Penn State jersey.
My son's got a Penn State Saquon jersey.
So I figured
I love it, man.
Yep. So almost went there, but I figured I'll keep it Phillies for the baseball.
My man JD's giving you a shot. He says, Jimmy, it's Thanksgiving, not St. Patty's Day. As all well, Jim, man.
It's the best thing I could do for Eagles.
I like it.
Phillies.
Yeah. I like it, man. But your insight, as always, fantastic, man. We much appreciate it. And look forward to more insight next week. And maybe we're talking about a trade next week. Winter meetings are coming up, like December 9th,
two
right?
Weeks, right? 2 weeks from yesterday, I believe.
Yep.
And, the buzz is that they will be impactful. So, last year, I think they were pretty much a dud other than the Ohtani signing announcement.
Yep.
Well, this year, you might be looking at a Soto signing announcement in addition to a lot of potential trades, which would be awesome.
Oh, that would be awesome, man. Yeah. That would be fantastic. All right, man. Jim, well, thank you so much. We're going to take a 1 to 2 minute break. I'm going to set this up. We're going to bring back a little Sixers talk. Well, man, Michael KB from 97.3 ESPN. He is the reporter for the 76ers. And we're going to get what the hell is going on with this team. And should we just end the season now? Because it looks like there's no energy whatsoever. So we'll be back in 2 minutes with the real Michael KB. We're talking live, little Sixers right here from the fantastic Pike's Pub.